when the lighting's good, you have to take advantage of the lighting. So hey there, I'm in Claremont, and I've been working out here for a few days. Prior to that, I was in Los Angeles. Excuse me. So just checking in. Just the whole transition from California, excuse me, from Washington to California has been me trying to get myself financially stable. I work for myself, and sorry, the table's moving. And so we made some progress. I feel like things are easier now. So I'm an artist, I'm a singer, and I went from the corporate world, I went from working a 9 to 5 to kind of an entrepreneur life. So I do whatever is in my wheelhouse to make money. And I try not to get sucked into one thing that takes all my time. I try and have little things that can produce money. And my wife does the same. It was a huge transition, you know, to go from a 9 to 5 where you knew your paycheck was coming to you and you knew how much and it was set. But this was by choice. I left my corporate gig. There was a series of reasons. There's some personal stuff that we thought we needed to move on, and we thought we were going to have to relocate. And ultimately, we did relocate. But and then there was the work environment was very toxic. It just really wasn't working down there towards the end. I lasted about a year, and I think it was just time. It was time for me to leave the business. It wasn't feeding my soul. I think I had peaked out. And I think it's important to know when it's time to leave. And a lot of times, and this is very personal because every situation is different. Certain times you can't because you have to make money. You're the only person who can work or whatever it is. But I don't have children, so me and my wife were able to make these adjustments. And they were different. There's a lot less money going around. But we learned so much. And believe it or not, through all of it, I'm a much happier person. I'm much happier with the work that I do now versus what I was doing before. I'm so grateful to have control over my schedule. And I don't think I could give it up. I think if I were to attach myself to any company, it would be a small company where I could talk to the boss and are the owner, either myself own it. Sorry, I had a text message come in. Either myself own the company and I can dictate everything, which is kind of what I'm doing now. I'm the CEO of myself. I don't have an incorporation. It's just me. I'm not even a sole proprietor. I kind of am a sole prop. Anyway, if I attach myself to any type of company, it has to be a small one where whoever has the vision. If it's not my company, I need to have really clear communication and big flexibility with me and that person. It needs to be like a partnership and not I need to manage you and abuse you and you need to work for me and produce all this. It needs to be a mutual win all the time. After working 10 years in the corporate world, I just reject the idea of a boss and a manager and the kind of entrenched abuse that just takes place. Sorry, while I'm looking up, my brain's going. I'm not looking at the camera, but I look at the from day one. I entered that industry at 27, and there's just this almost slave mentality of I'm your boss. I can tell you what to do, when to squat, when to jump, when to poop, when to eat. It's this weird thing of egos and people just treating other adults, people that have, like you have one person that will be managing another person and they act like that person is five. And that's this person that they are managing person will say person A is managing person B. Person B has children, has a house, has responsibilities. They're not a child, but there's this abusive, condescending thing. And that's probably everywhere. But I reject that. I reject that. I don't know why I'm so bent on this to the point that I'll take less money. I just can't put up with so much bullshit. I can't put up with the abuse. I'd rather have my dignity and self respect. And maybe that's just pride. Because I respect, my dad, he had to do what he had to do. And I know he was abused in an abusive work environment for many years, but he had 5 kids and that was kind of the mode he was in. But I feel like we can do better as human beings. I believe in good customer service, but not abuse. But it needs to be, I wish that we could just have a higher level of consciousness. And this is speaking from American perspective. And the reason I say that is because I realize that this will probably be published and go on YouTube and people all over the world can see it. So, with that in mind, in America, in the West Coast, I'm in California now. I was in Washington, but I see it all everywhere. Just these businesses that we have and services that we have become little incubators for abuse. It could be a tire shop, a coffee shop, a furniture store, a hobby and craft store, a grocery store, and there's these abusive environments and relationships and things going on. And anyway, you get it, I think. So I am not trying to live off the grid, but I'm definitely trying to question, deconstruct how we live our lives, because I noticed that like in neighborhoods, suburbs, and different communities along, just here on the West Coast where I've spent the last 38 years, almost 40 years, that there's a mode that everybody gets in, There's certain places, there's certain collective ideas that you have to have a house, you have to have a car, you have to have a lawn that's green and makes the neighbor's value go up. It keeps the value of the neighborhood up. You have to have a toolbox, that red toolbox. Like everybody had the red toolbox, and it was just so like stamped, like factory. Like everybody was like the same, and they bought the same things. And I don't know if it's the crazy in me or the artist in me wants some sort of variance, some sort of uniqueness, some sort of originality. And just doing things for the sake of doing things because it's the norm isn't enough for me. And I don't also just look at doing something crazy just to be, just to stand out or just to get attention. I'm not interested in that. But I'm definitely interested in looking inside yourself and seeing if something is good for you, because we're all different, there's 5 kids in my family. There's 5 total of us siblings, including me. Each of us are so different. And so one size just doesn't fit all, even though there are things that we come together on, and there are things, because we spent so much time together as a family, that are the same. There's some huge differences in original uniquenesses to each of my siblings. So this is a longer rant than I normally do, but peace and love. Yeah.